Look to the lateral claw, but not today. Today her lameness is due to this medial claw. Welcome back to Nate the Hoof Guy. Now yes, this lateral claw does have some rocks in it, it does have some cracks in it, and yes, there is some heel horn erosion. However, in general, this claw is intact. It's the medial claw that's got a problem in it. The oversized heel bulb, and this hole right here, that's the dead giveaway. You can hear the rocks embedded in there. I really don't want to hit those with my grinder. Now before we get too far into that medial claw, let's get this entire hoof trimmed up. Now this isn't the only trim we got for you today. We've got 2 more after this, so stick around for those. But when we're trimming this hoof, you can see that oversized claw. We know we're gonna probably need a block in there, so I'm gonna actually prep this for a block right now. I'm gonna get it trimmed the way I want it. I'm gonna also trim down this this medial claw, excuse me. I'm gonna trim that down. Typically, I'm not gonna take a lot away from that heel section, but in this one, I know I've gotta remove material there, so I'm gonna do that with my grinder now. Why don't we do that? Why do we leave that heel deeper in general? In general, that medial claw doesn't have a lot of heel growth there. It tends to wear the best of any areas on the claw. So we don't need to typically remove a lot there. But in this case, we have a problem. We're gonna end up removing that anyway. So it's easier to remove it with the grinder, and that way my knife work is a little bit easier. I'm gonna notch this crack in this claw out as well, full of rocks. So I'm gonna take that away. I don't wanna leave those in there. When it comes to the question of knowing what to remove when it comes to separation, what I'm looking for is dark areas or shading areas that might indicate that that horn is separated. You can start to see that just above that little dot there. You can see that it's darker in color behind there. That's telling me that there's separation there and that I need to remove that hoof horn. Here it's pretty easy. We can see some debris in there with that crack, so we can remove that. But I can tell just to the right of where I'm working now that there's an area of separation, so I'm going to work a circle there and remove that. With a sharp knife, it takes very little effort to work it through that solar horn. This is that area of shading I was talking about earlier. I'm just going to follow that separation with the hook of my knife. The hook allows you to get up underneath that separation and lift it away cleanly. When you get close to where that lesion might be, that's where you have to be cautious and take very deliberate knife strokes. Spraying it down as I go allows me to see these edges much clearer. I should have no problem finishing up this trim with that block in place, so I'm going to get that on there now. Taking a closer look here, you can see we've just got a few more areas to do some touch-up work on, but this is about wrapped up. Like I said, we got a couple more trims though, so don't go anywhere. We'll finish this trim up with a nice spray down. We're going to dab it dry and get that salicylic acid wrap in place. Then we're going to let her go, and believe it or not, the next cow that I put in the chute was the very next trim of that day, and she's got some stuff going on with her right front foot. So here we are, very next cow, and she too has some rocks in her hoof. Now today, it's her right front foot that was giving her problems, but this is not the first time that we've seen this cow. When we picked up her back foot, you can see she had toe necrosis in the past. We were able to heal that up. It looks beautiful now. But as you can see from that claw, you can't actually heal toe necrosis, meaning that claw is going to have permanent damage to it, but you can get it to encase or enclose back up again, which is what we did there. That's not an easy one to heal, toe necrosis, but we did so on this girl. This problem here, well, looks like those rocks didn't go all the way through after all. I was convinced the way she walked in that she had problems there, but apparently not. I don't have to do a lot of trimming on this lateral claw. It's about right, but this medial claw, that's the one I had to take down. So you'll notice at the end of this trim, I trimmed one claw, but the other one I left basically intact. That's because this hoof is now balanced the way it is. I don't need to remove any more hoof horn there. A little bit of brown on that claw isn't going to hurt anything. That's just staining. That's the natural sole thickness, and I want to keep it that way. Now on to our third trim of the day, and this one too is favoring that left rear, and once again the problem is on that medial claw. The way this one starts reminds me a lot of that very first trim. There's a hole right in that medial claw full of debris, likely where that problem's going to be. The more hoof horn we remove, the more rocks we find embedded up inside there. So why are there so many rocks on animals that are housed? Generally, you're not going to see that, right? Well, in this case, this farm beds with sand, and sand is sifted in order to get nice fine particles for the cows to lay on as they're bedding. However, sometimes some of those bigger particulates, some of those bigger rocks are able to get past those screens, and it ends up in the sand. When you have those little rocks, and those little rocks are on the cement, they can get driven into these claws. Any imperfections, any impartial shedding creates a little pocket. Those rocks can get in there. And in this case, they were able to work all the way in and are pushing on that sensitive hoof horn up in that heel bulb section. Now, generally, rocks need to find an area to get embedded into. In this case, I was afraid there could be a sole fracture here, so I'm taking this hoof horn all the way down until that disappears. I'm going to finish trimming this claw up now, this medial claw. The lateral one, I'm just going to use that rough up disc. I don't need to take any material off. I just want to get it prepped for a block. I'm going to use a block because I took that hoof horn down all the way. Take a look here. You can see it's pink inside there, right down almost to that corium level, making sure that that mark disappeared, which it did.